and then the Punisher special presentation. Um, yeah, so big part of this one. So we're supposed to see him facing Manucci, and I believe they are actually pulling that from. I don't remember what season that was, but I think there was a member of the Nucci crime family that he killed in, the TV shows. I don't remember if it was Daredevil season 2 or if it was in one of his own solo series, but now, yeah. So I saw on Reddit there was a potential plot leak, so I have no idea if it's true or not. Um, but apparently that's according to that, it says Fisk is going to be overthrown in Born Again season 2, and Manucci is going to be one of the people that tries to take his place, which I'm also assuming means like Vanessa isn't taking his place, kind of like how they did before. Like they're both gone for whatever reason. Um, but then the interesting part about that plot leak that's got like red flags for me is that it's claiming we're also going to find out that besides Manucci, Tombstone and Scorpion are two others that are trying to take Fisk's place. Um, the obvious red flag there is that they're both Spider-Man characters, so they're owned by Sony. So it would be pretty crazy if we actually got them. Well, it'd be crazy if they actually appeared, but it'd also be, just crazy if they were even mentioned. Um, yeah, but there were some like rumors that Sony is kind of going to allow Marvel more access to their characters. Um, so if that's true, like maybe this actually happened, and I was even wondering if they were shooting this like directly in tandem with Brand New Day, so you have all the actors available, and because Frank's supposed to be in Brand New Day, and then Tombstone and Scorpion are. But the other red flag with that is, um, it's saying Tombstone is like leading his own party to take over Fisk's territory, and Scorpion's leading his own party to take over Fisk's power. But according to the Brand New Day plot leak, like that I covered on my channel before, that's saying that Scorpion and Tombstone are actually working together. So I'm not really sure how that would happen, especially we have shots of Scorpion who's still in his prison uniform and he's going to escape during Brand New Day. So unless he's somehow pulling strings while he's in prison, which is possible, but yeah, it's just kind of contradicts the other plot leaks we've seen. But again, they're just potential plot leaks, so who knows if one's true or the other's true or if either of them are true. Um, yeah, but yeah, I'm excited to see the Punisher back in his own solo, and now that he's on the Marvel Studios side of things, we can really see him branch out. Um, as far as other corners of the Marvel universe. And that's something I've kind of talked about in the Spider-Man Brand New Day plot leak was I was wondering if Sadie Sink's character is going to appear in this show because according to the Brand New Day plot leak, her and Frank are supposed to be partners, so I would think it would make sense like if that's true, um she would appear here first, and then we'd have a better understanding of their partnership by the time a Brand New Day comes out. But still, I have no idea if they actually are going to be partners. But and if she is a Sony character, chances of her appearing are kind of low right now. But then this is saying Tombstone and Scorpion will be in this, so who knows? But yeah. Um, So yeah, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I really don't have much to say about this now. I already covered a potential plot leak, but I'm really excited for this. To see Spider-Man teaming up and fighting Punisher and the Hulk. That's gonna be awesome to see. Um, Having the hand back. It was just reported that um, Tom Holland had to learn jujitsu for this movie, so the action sounds like it's gonna be pretty interesting for a Spider-Man movie. Um, uh, yeah, there's talk of a possible Super Bowl trailer. Um, then there's the rumors about um, Banner turning into Grey Hulk. Finally, there were plans for him to turn into Grey Hulk back in Age of Ultron when Wanda was messing with his mind. So that'd be awesome if we finally got that um, to see on screen to really shake up the Hulk and see him do actually different things since we apparently can never see him in a solo movie for the foreseeable future. As far as that goes, people claiming to be scoopers have said like, oh, like 2018 was supposed to be 10 years and the rights would revert. And that didn't happen, and then they were supposed to revert like 15 years later, and that didn't happen. Now they just keep changing their story as the years go on, and yet nothing ever happens. So there's a lot of people that now think that Universal just outright owns the distribution rights, like there is no time frame for them to revert back to Marvel Studios. So, which is kind of unfortunate because that just means Universal can just sit on them because, as soon as they sell them back to Marvel, Marvel can easily make back all the money they just used to buy them back. And so I think Universal will just sit on it for who knows how long. All right, X-Men 97. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of stuff from Brad Winderbaum and Bo DeMayo about these upcoming seasons. Let's see. Uh, Brad Winderbaum announced that Bill Foster would be showing up in season two, so we're getting Goliath. Um, and he already talked about season three. Apparently, season three, they're supposed to be going into more multiversal stuff, and he basically teased there are going to be some awesome character appearances as far as that goes. Um, let's see. And then speaking of character appearances, I already made a video about like the 90s universe and how Bo DeMayo apparently talked about how he was going to canonize all those different shows to one universe. Um, you know, we already know for a fact like Spider-Man the animated series and X-Men the animated series are canon to this universe. But like I pointed out in my other video, we had Iron Man show up in his Iron Man series armor, which is supposed to be that series is supposed to be set in an alternate universe, the X-Men Spider-Man series or universe. But he shows up in that. You had Morph, when they're on like Asteroid M. He transforms into Reed Richards, but he's Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four season two suit. So that's another reference to a show that was supposedly not canon. Um, what else? He kind of had the Hulk, but the Hulk was pretty much a generic Hulk, but he is kind of a generic Hulk in the Incredible Hulk series. So that might have been in something there. And then we had like Baron Zemo have a cameo towards the end of the first season, and Zemo was in um, the Avengers United They Stand. But again, I have still not found where Bo DeMayo talked about this, but I've seen someone on Reddit claim this, and I saw someone on Twitter asking him like how like they obviously heard he talked about it too, and they were like, "Well, how does the Silver Surfer continuity work?" Because the Silver Surfer has a different origin story in the Fantastic Four show and the Silver Surfer show, so Um, yeah, it'd be pretty interesting to see where they take that as far as continuity of those shows. Um, Bo DeMeo actually talked about how he had plans to possibly reveal that Gambit was a fourth Summers brother. Um, uh, and then we're obviously getting Apocalypse in season two, and DeMeo said that he intended there to be like two apocalypses. There'd be the modern day one, and then there'd be a second one that was responsible for like the events of the Beyond Good and Evil story arc in the uh, X-Men the animated series. Um, and he actually talked about one of them. I forget who, or which one. He was talking about having plans of Apocalypse waking up on the husk of one of the Celestials that had created him. That apparently the Celestial was dead, but then he ends up finding out that the Brood have infested the husk, and so Apocalypse has spent like years fighting off the Brood, trying to get to the Brood Queen, um, which would be pretty cool because I know the Brood was like, I forget, they weren't part of X-Men the animated series, but there was like a cameo, but I forget how they did. I don't think it was Morph turning into one, or it was something that was changing into various creatures that, and at one point it turned into whoever it was or whatever it was, turned into a Brood. So this would actually give us the Brood full on. Um, let's see. Oh, and then DeMeo did talk about his plans for the whole Jean and Madeline Pryor swap, because that was teased at the end of the first season. DeMeo confirmed that his intention was that Sinister swapped them out at the beginning of the events of Beyond Good and Evil, when Sinister was working for Apocalypse and he was kidnapping telepaths, and he ends up showing up at Jean and Scott's wedding, and he kidnaps her. So apparently, when he takes her through that portal, he actually goes back to his lab. They must swap clothes or whatever with Madeline, and then he delivers Madeline to Apocalypse. And then, so when they rescue Jean, they're actually rescuing Madeline. Um, yeah. Let's see, what else do I have? I think that's pretty much it for all the news I've heard of that. Yeah, I can't wait. There was that leaked trailer from Comic Con showing that we're gonna get more Weapon X stuff. Um, yeah, and apparently Gambit's gonna be resurrected as the Horseman Death by Apocalypse. So yeah, can't wait for that.